Let's tap in on today's video. Let's see what we got.
Edmund Kemper. His mother told him no woman would ever love him, so he found a way to make sure they'd never leave. Edmund Kemper was just 8 years old when his mother started locking him in the basement every
Locking our children in the basement? Like, this is the first guy, Edmund Kemper, whatever. But we're locking our kids in the basement. I don't know if y'all are well aware, like, society, I believe society today has gotten so soft in terms of parenting and how we structure everything surrounding having kids and how we interact with them and how we, you know what I'm saying? But I will say back then, those parents did not give a flying fuck. They did not care. They did not care. They didn't care.
night. She said it was to protect his sisters from him. She called him a real weirdo, loud enough for him to hear through the walls. She told him he reminded her of his father, and that was never a compliment. By 10, Kemper had buried the family cat alive, then dug it up, then cut off its head and mounted it on a stick. At 14, he ran away to find his father, but his father had remarried and didn't want him. They shipped him off to live with his grandparents on a remote California ranch. His grandmother treated him the same way his mother had: constant criticism and constant control. On August 27, 1964, 15-year-old Edmund Kemper shot his grandmother in the head with a rifle. When his grandfather came home, he shot him too. When police asked why, Kemper said he wanted to see what it felt like to kill Grandma, and he killed Grandpa so he wouldn't have to find out. Kemper spent 5 years in a psychiatric hospital. Doctors said he was rehabilitated. They released him into his mother's care. The argument started immediately. Screaming matches so loud the neighbors called police. His mother told him he was worthless, that college girls would never look at him twice, that he disgusted her. Between 1972,
But you see, the thing is that I'm able to see both sides of it, right? Obviously, you don't ever want to be a serial killer, but obviously you never want to be treated wrong as a child. You never want to be locked in a basement. You never want to be called a real weirdo and say, like imagine your own family doing all these things to protect themselves from you. Like, from the moment this guy was born, they made bro feel like he was a threat. So how do you think somebody's going to react? How do you think they're going to, like, their ideology is going to form? Like, how is he supposed to react? How is he supposed to respond? At that rate, at that result, I wouldn't expect anything less than an unhinged human being. Because if your own family, the people that, like, if you have nobody in this life, you have family. As unfortunate as that is, if you have nobody in this life, you have no friends, no boyfriend, no girlfriend, no wife, no husband, you have family. That's what you're supposed to have. So the only people on the planet that you have to run to was putting this nigga in the basement. They were calling him a weirdo. They were what? His grandma was basically this all verbal abuse. So I can't, like, I won't resonate or reason with a person like murdering. You should never take a life no matter what. But at the same time, what were y'all cooking? What were y'all cooking?
In 1973, Kemper picked up 6 young female hitchhikers. He killed them all. But these weren't random victims. They were college students, the same women his mother worked with at UC Santa Cruz, the same women she said would never want him. After killing one victim, Kemper buried her head in his mother's garden, facing her bedroom window. She always wanted people to look up to her, he said. On April 20th, 1973, Kemper finally did what he'd been building toward his whole life. He killed his mother with a hammer while she was sleeping. He decapitated her and used her head as a dartboard. Then he called the police and turned himself in. The killings were over. He destroyed...
I'm not gonna lie, that is real hatred. Like, some of these things, like, you see a lot of these stories with these serial killers and these mass murderers, like all these urban myths, urban legends, whatever. A lot of the stuff that they do, I couldn't even bring my brain to think about, imagine holding anger in that long that you're that mad through the entire process, through the process of taking her off the earth, like taking her life, then taking her head off, then putting her head on the wall, and then going to go get darts. Because the darts ain't just there unless, if you premeditate throwing darts at a person's head, you, I don't know, buddy. Maybe you just so far gone. But that, like, imagine having this much hatred. But I would like to think that I understand, because y'all treated my, I was about to say my boy. It ain't my boy. But y'all treated this guy like he was you know what I'm saying, like a pest since the moment that he had consciousness. What else is he supposed to do?
The thing that created him. Jeffrey Dahmer. When Jeffrey Dahmer was 18, both his parents left. His father moved out. His mother took his younger brother and left. No forwarding address, no phone calls. Jeffrey was alone in an empty house. He would later say that was the moment everything fell apart. Dahmer's childhood looked normal from the outside. Suburban Ohio, two-parent household, a little brother named David. But inside, the family was fracturing. His mother suffered from depression and anxiety, swallowing pills by the handful. His father buried himself in work, chasing a PhD in chemistry while his marriage collapsed. The two fought constantly, screaming matches that echoed through the walls. No one noticed their older son slipping away. By age 10, Jeffrey had started collecting roadkill. He'd strip the flesh from dead animals and keep the bones. His father thought it was scientific curiosity. He even taught Jeffrey how to bleach and preserve the skeletons.
Nah, see, I get it. The dad, he wanted to be a W dad. He did. He wanted to, like, I feel as though there's certain hobbies that children adopt, and you, as a parent, you want to be as supportive as possible. You don't want your mind to just go, oh, this nigga is borderline about to be a serial killer. You never want your head to go there, but what you want to be as a parent, you just want to be supportive. But at the same time, what are we supporting? You know what I'm saying? Like, your brain should always be working two ways, right? Like, all right, I wholeheartedly love my son or daughter, whatever they want to do. I will 100% support them. But what is said thing that they are doing? What are the habits they're doing? What are the habits that they're building? What is like, where potentially could this lead towards? Excuse my stutter, because like my mouth moves more than my brain, or my brain, one of the two is quicker than the other. Don't judge me. But anyways, yes, like let's just take a deep dive and let's mentally track everything. Yes, we're supporting our kids, but where could this potentially lead to? You're killing stray animals, gutting them alive, keeping the bones, and then what? Me as a dad, I would ask my son, and then what? And then, like, what is your goal? What are you trying to do? Because I feel like that question was never asked. Like, especially you're asking, all right, so while you're doing that, how do you feel? Like how do you feel taking the life of an animal and then cutting it open and then taking all the bones out? Like, I just feel like it's so many unanswered questions that could be asked in a moment, and then depending on the answer you get, we know we know how to approach the situation. We know if we got to go take this nigga to Dr. Phil or something. We know that. Like, come on.
He never asked why his son spent hours alone in a backyard hut, surrounded by jars of formaldehyde and tiny skulls. By 14, Jeffrey was drinking whiskey before school. Teachers noticed. His grades dropped, but no one intervened. By the time his parents divorced, Jeffrey had already learned the lesson that would define his life. People leave. Everyone leaves. And there's nothing you can do to make them stay, unless you make sure they can't. Between 1978 and 1991, Dahmer killed 17 young men. He drugged them, strangled them, and kept their bodies for as long as he could. He posed them, photographed them, slept beside them. He later told investigators he wasn't trying to hurt anyone. He just didn't want to be alone. The only way I could keep them with me, he said, was if they couldn't leave. Dahmer was beaten to death in prison in 1994. He was 34 years old. His parents had spent years fighting over who was responsible for what their son became. In the end, they both abandoned him, and he never stopped trying to fill that emptiness.
I was about to say, because if both parents leave the household, no contact, no nothing, no message, no warning, no, they didn't even fucking put a note on the fridge. There was no note on the fridge. So to me, in my head, it's like, why, that's a pointless argument. That's an argument that, you know what I'm saying? It's a big pie. I get half, you get half. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. So I don't understand that argument that they're having. I don't understand.
John Wayne Gacy. His father called him stupid, called him a sissy, called him a failure. John Wayne Gacy spent his entire childhood trying to earn approval that never came. His father was an alcoholic machinist who beat the family regularly. At 4 years old, John was whipped for accidentally moving parts in his father's car engine.
Why are you accidentally playing in the engine? Not gonna lie, why are we doing that? As a father, would I just start wailing on my son because he's freaking around in my car with my car and then my car don't start. I got work in the morning. Now I'm trying to figure out why, and I realize something is wrong with the engine. And then then my son just say, "Oh, cause I took this out. This is supposed to be in there." I'm not just about to. I'm not about to do that. But it's like, why are you playing in the car? Why?
At 9, a family friend began abusing him. John never told anyone, terrified his father would blame him. The message was clear. Everything wrong was John's fault. He tried everything. Worked hard in school, joined community organizations, built a successful business, hosted neighborhood parties, even dressed as Pogo the Clown to entertain children at hospitals. But nothing worked. His father kept calling him worthless. Then, in 1966, something changed. Gacy had married, had children, was managing restaurants in Iowa. His parents came to visit, and for the first time in his life, his father shook his hand and said, "Son, I was wrong about you." 3 years later, his father was dead. When Gacy heard the news in prison, where he was serving time for sexually assaulting a teenage employee, he collapsed to the floor. His request to attend the funeral was even denied. Between 1972 and 1978, John Wayne Gacy murdered at least 33 young men. He lured them to his home with promises of construction jobs, handcuffed them with a magic trick, assaulted and tortured them for hours, strangled them slowly with a rope tourniquet he called the rope trick. Then he buried them in the crawl space beneath his house. 26 bodies were stacked in trenches he dug himself. When police finally searched his property, the stench of decay had been seeping through heating vents for years. Gacy showed no remorse. At trial, he joked about his victims. He blamed an alter ego named Jack, said the dead were just male prostitutes and liars. He was executed in 1994. His father never lived to see what his son became, but every victim buried under that house was someone's child too, killed by a man still trying to prove he wasn't worthless. Albert Fish. His mother couldn't afford him, so she gave him away. Albert Fish was 5 years old when his father died of a heart attack. His mother, unable to support her children alone, made a decision that would echo through history. She placed young Albert in St. John's Orphanage in Washington, D.C. She thought she was saving him. Instead, she was creating a monster. The orphanage was a house of horrors. Teachers beat the children constantly, whipped them until they bled, and forced the others to watch. It was meant as discipline. For Albert, it became something else entirely. He discovered he liked it. The beatings triggered excitement. Watching other boys suffer excited him.
And that's why you gotta be careful with certain punishments that you do. Like I understand discipline, I understand punishment, I understand I was a kid once, you know what I'm saying? I did some stupid stuff that I'd probably deserve to get the belt, but it was never out of show. Like I thank God my mom never all right, one child did something, I'm gonna make every other child in the household watch me whip this child just to prove a point, just to get my message across that y'all not about to act up. That's, to me, that's just that does nothing but fascinate a uneducated brain, essentially. Because in this situation, a lot of people don't realize that if we're being honest, some people like pain. Some people like to see other people suffer. Some people that's why these kinks exist. You're only able to act on it as you get older, because as a child you can't. No child is strong enough to beat on another kid, let alone another adult person, out of pure satisfaction, unless you just this 300-pound all muscle preteen, which nobody is. And if you are, you're not worried about no weird stuff like this. But this is why you can't always do stuff for show. You can't always think that a mass beating or a mass they used to do mass hangings, and that's why some people back in the day, I'm sure, they was oh, I'd like to see somebody strangle and plead for their life and try to breathe knowing that they can't. I feel like there's weird enzyme. I don't know if enzymes is the word, but I'm gonna go with it because it sounds right to me. There's weird enzymes in the brain that activate when certain people see certain things. Like say if somebody accidentally killed a bird, and the bird is just like it's twitching. There's because it's slowly dying, and then they just put it out of its misery, and then it don't move no more. And it was like, oh, I felt so much power. I felt so much control. Like that bird had my life, and it's like stuff like that exists every day. Now, whether a person decides to act on it, you know what I'm saying? That's a different story. Some people have more self-control than others, but I feel like humans, we're just so we are amazing, but we're also heavily flawed in the sense that anything can rewire your brain mechanisms without you even knowing. And it happens like that. Like that's just it's something that I find fascinating, but it's also scary because you never know how many people you pass a day, and you don't know what those people are capable of. You don't know what they hide in their house. You don't know the secret fantasies that they have, the thoughts that they have, the actions that they do. You never know this stuff. But as you can see right here with this video, like you don't know how people grow up. You don't know how they're raised. You don't know what they've seen that makes them think the way that they do. It's fascinating, but it's scary.
Pain and pleasure fused together in his developing mind, wiring connections that should never have existed. By the time his mother finally retrieved him 5 years later, the damage was permanent. Fish spent the rest of his life chasing that feeling. As an adult, he embedded needles into his own groin. 29.
Bro was acupuncturing his nuts. Am I am I hearing that correctly? He was acupuncturing his nuts with what?
Were found lodged in his pelvis when doctors finally x-rayed him. He beat himself with a nail-studded paddle. He soaked cotton in lighter fluid, inserted it into his body, and set it on fire. But his own pain wasn't enough. He needed to hear children scream. Between 1924 and 1928, Fish murdered at least 3 children. He strangled them, dismembered them, cooked them. He even sent a letter to one victim's mother describing how he ate her 10-year-old daughter over 9 days. Every detail, every recipe. Psychiatrists identified 18 different sexual abnormalities in him, more than any case in medical history. Fish claimed God commanded him to sacrifice children, like Abraham with Isaac. The jury found him insane, but they executed him anyway. In 1936, Fish walked to the electric chair and reportedly helped position the electrodes himself. His last written statement was so depraved, his own lawyer refused to release it, calling it the most filthy string of obscenities I have ever read. The child his mother abandoned to save money had grown into America's most disturbing killer. Henry Lee Lucas. His mother dressed him as a girl, then she sold him. Henry Lee Lucas was born in...
What are we doing as parents? Like in 1936 and in the 1900s, what the were y'all doing? like genuinely, I understand. Like I can't even say I understand. I can't. Because what I was about to say is I understand back then, like it was the Wild Wild West. There was no rules. It was unhinged. It was like no clear game plan. It wasn't no cameras. It wasn't no direction. It was apparently this is what it seems like. It just seems like y'all was doing whatever y'all wanted to do. Why are we? For the life of me, you dress your son up as a little girl and you sell him for money, and then you expect a different outcome. You expect him to grow up to be this upstanding citizen that could be the next potential president of the United States of America? No.
1936 in a one-room dirt floor cabin in Virginia. His mother, Viola, sold herself to strangers and made her son witness things no child should ever see. If he looked away, she beat him. If he cried, she beat him harder. But the watching wasn't the worst part. Viola dressed young Henry in girls' clothes, with dresses and long hair. She paraded him through town like that for years. But why? Because in this way she could sell him to her clients, to men, to women, to anyone willing to pay. His father was a legless alcoholic who sold pencils on the street. He couldn't protect Henry. He couldn't even protect himself. One night, trying to escape the horror inside that cabin, he crawled outside drunk and froze to death in the snow. Henry was beaten constantly. When he was 7, his mother smashed a wooden plank across his skull. He spent days unconscious. When he was 10, his brother slashed his face with a knife. The wound got infected. His mother ignored it until a teacher accidentally struck the damaged eye. It burst and had to be surgically removed. Henry learned that he was worthless.
So the only way the teacher found out that the guy had a hole, essentially a hole with pus and all that in his face, is because the teacher went to hit him in the face. So not only is the parents doing whatever, but the teachers is doing whatever. The government been doing whatever. It's like, where is the law, the regulation, the morality? Where is the social awareness to just do the right effing thing? It's just like it don't exist. Like, maybe now it do, and only because people is afraid of public punishment or public opinion, and you can't hide nothing, you can't get away with nothing because everybody can really see everything now. So it's like, wow.
Something to be used, sold, and discarded. In 1960, during a Christmas visit, his mother demanded he move back home to care for her. They argued. She hit him with a broom, and he stabbed her in the neck. She died instantly on the floor. Lucas was convicted of her murder and spent years in prison. When authorities released him early due to overcrowding, he warned them.
I don't even gotta sound this one.
I'm not ready to go. They released him anyway.
I thought I didn't have to sound this one, but imagine somebody that did something really, really bad is telling you, I'm not ready to go back to society. I'm not ready to play to play this game where I'm just upstanding citizen. I'm not reformed. I am not ready. I'm not ready. Keep me in jail. Keep me in prison. Keep me locked up with everybody who's done anything wrong to deserve to be in jail. And they say, nah, it's okay. You can walk. I feel like whoever's decision that is to let him go, they should be equally held responsible for every crime he commits after the fact.
That same day, Lucas
I'm not even going to sound this one.
killed a woman within walking distance of the prison gates, his gift to the people who set him free. He was eventually convicted of 11 murders. He confessed to hundreds more, though many were later proven false. The truth of his body count may never be known. But one truth is certain. Long before Henry Lee Lucas killed anyone, his mother had already murdered the child he might have been.